Well, the Kumasi Circuit Court has adjourned to the 15th of June the case involving the NPP pro-security group Delta Force after they absconded in broad daylight in a shocking show of bravado. Now, they were rearrested, slapped with a 2,400 fine each, or in default spent 3 years in prison for their illegal audacity. The suspects, who were on remand before the escape, were also made to sign a bond to be of good behavior for 6 months. Meanwhile, the Ghana Bar Association says it stands by its demand for the rearrest and prosecution of all those involved in the attack on a court in Kumasi, despite yesterday's decision by state prosecutors to drop all charges against the suspects. This morning, top officials from the Attorney General's Department are beginning a probe into why state attorneys in Kumasi dropped the charges against the suspects who attacked the circuit court, threatened the judge, and freed individuals suspected to be members of the pro-NPP group Delta Force on trial for assaulting the Ashanti Region Security Coordinator. Ernest Menu has more.
It was a huge bolt from the blue when news emerged that state prosecutors in Kumasi have dropped charges against the suspects. It turned out the prosecutors had acted without due authority. A statement issued by the Information Ministry announced a formal probe has been opened into the matter by the Attorney General's Department. The statement noted that preliminary investigations suggest that the decision by the Kumasi attorneys was taken without recourse even to the Director of Public Prosecution and may amount to a breach of internal procedures on matters of this nature. The statement reiterated government's commitment to ensuring that the rule of law is applied at all times and persons found culpable of any breaches that bring the work and commitment of the department into disrepute will be sanctioned and the appropriate remedies adopted in the interest of the Republic. The Ghana Bar Association welcomed the assurance. Tony Forsen is Vice President of the association.
President himself, being a champion of the rule of law and an astute lawyer, is outraged by what happened. I believe the Attorney General, Ms. Kufu, as I know her, unless, of course, it is impossible to prosecute, they will prosecute. This is not the matter which we should be joking about.
But Minority Leader in Parliament, Haruna Idrisu, was less than convinced.
Very interesting times in our country. I only can hope that it's not a smart U-turn that government is making because of the outright public condemnation of their action, which will remain an affront to the judiciary, utter disrespect to an organ of the state.
Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Nanobi Buahin, also questioned the basis for the Attorney General's investigations into the matter.
Are they suggesting that all the decisions taken should emanate from Accra? Is that what they are telling us? The accused person can be discharged. The state can file and only prosecute. The bottom line is that it is the AG's office. That is all. When I talk about the AG's office, I'm not talking about Gloria Kuku, I'm not talking about Confedami or Champion. I'm not talking about the individuals. I'm talking about the AG's office. That is all.
The Ghana Bar Association, meanwhile, has requested the full detail of proceedings in court yesterday. The association, however, insists they still stand by the demand for all suspects involved in the attack on the court.
Well, private legal practitioner Martin Bebu shared some thoughts with us on this development earlier on the Newstext program. Now, he spoke about the difficulty as regards police officers in gathering evidence while processing cases for court.
Yes, looking at it, the candidates don't seem to have sufficient basis to conclude on the investigation yet until we ask for details on the docket. You see, right now, what you have is a conclusion that the policeman gave a statement and then the two other persons, all those seem to be able to identify. But we have to see what effort was made. So that is when we'll then be able to judge that this investigation is not up to scratch. So far, that's how it looks like. But you have to also investigate the investigations before you can make a firm conclusion. See, my sister, a criminal trial is not a joke. You know, there is the psychological effect is harrowing, it takes time, okay, and all those things. So where the police do not have evidence, the best is to discontinue. I'm happy you use the word discontinue. They've only been discharged. So that if after this discharge, now that there's this is serious public furor against the state of affairs, if we subsequently get evidence, we can rearrest those persons.
Well, the 2017 edition of Multi-TV's Habitat Fair is being launched in Accra today. This year's edition, which is the 8th, is under the theme Affordable Housing and Renewable Energy. The annual fair is aimed at bringing together technocrats in the housing sector to help solve the housing needs of Ghanaians. Let's go live now to the Swiss Spirit Alisa Hotel and Suites, where Frida Prempe, the Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, is currently addressing participants.
How many of us can afford it? There are a lot of quality, nice, high-rise building all over the place as you drive around Roman Ridge, Cantonments, Laboni, name it, looking for buyers. If you are not an expatriate, if you are coming from the developed country, how many of us can afford to buy or rent such high-quality housing units? So as we are here today, let's begin to brainstorm, dialogue, exchange ideas, and see how best together we can all come out with strategies to put up affordable quality housing projects for Ghanaians. It is the MP vision to use an appropriate mix of public policy and public-private investments to deliver quality, affordable social housing and private housing solutions that meet the needs and financial capacity of the ordinary Ghanaian. You will agree with me that by international standards, you aren't even supposed to pay more than 30% of your income as mortgage. So let's be thinking. There are a lot of housing units around looking for buyers, as I said earlier on. And it is the government's vision to offer tax incentives to local real estate developers, suppliers of building materials in order to reduce costs of building. The MPP government has abolished the 5% VAT on real estate sales and seeks to identify and establish land banks with infrastructure such as roads, drainage, water, and power for the development of affordable housing units on public-private partnership. The government also seeks to implement a national policy requiring every public building, including new homes, to install solar panels. We cannot do away with solar panels for now, even though we'll be looking at other areas in order to reduce long-term cost of ownership. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, increasing population growth and rapid urbanization has also made housing a major challenge in many of our cities within the housing sector. As Mordecai said, and study realities also iterated that we have over 1.7 million housing deficits. Society is not static, it is dynamic. And by this time, it's even grown beyond 1.7 million. So what else are we making to ensure that we bridge the gap? The MPP government started affordable housing projects in 2005. They were able to reach out to 5 regions, and it is the intention of the current administration to move on to the other 5 regions of Ghana. The available statistics shows that the current annual supply of housing in Ghana is about 45,000 housing units. 90% of this is supplied by the private sector. It is significant to know that these units are targeted at the middle and high-income group. And this calls for interventional policies which will favor those in the low-income brackets. Research have also shown that about 35% of Ghanaians can afford the quality, expensive housing units. About 50% may be able to afford the average cost of, average housing units. But the real people that we are looking at, those below the ladder, the low-income earners, that about 15% of our Ghanaian population cannot afford. They are the people living in the slums, living in kiosks. People are living in containers. I have personally investigated, had a chat with them. And some are paying about 10 or 15 Ghana cedis a week, first living in that container. Some are paying 60 Ghana cedis every month. And they are hoping that this administration will support them with a real affordable social housing units. And they are ready to rent and pay. So as we are all here to dialogue, let's think about our dear brothers and sisters below the ladder, those that we have to reach out to. That's why our ministry this time have decided to go to the outskirts, to go to the rural communities, to look for land banks, to build real affordable housing projects for the average Ghanaian.
That's Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Madam Frida Prempeh, speaking at the launch of this year's edition of the Multi-TV Habitat Fair. We'll take you back to the event shortly. But Agric Minister Dr. Akoto Owusu-Afriyie is dismissing concerns Armyworm invasion across the country will derail this government's policy for planting for food and jobs. The Peasant Farmers Association has warned that destruction by the pest could threaten the country's food security. But Dr. Akoto says the devastation is under control. He's been speaking during a tour of some affected areas. My colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is there with him and joins us with some updates. Hello, Joseph. Well, looks like we a line there, but we'll be speaking to him shortly about the specific areas the minister has been touring and what he's been telling the people there, as well as pick up some reaction from farmers and members of the various communities that he is visiting. Hello, Joseph. Well, we don't seem to have him on the line there, but the Agric Minister is touring some communities in the eastern region where some farms have been affected by the armyworm invasion. We'll take a quick break here on Joy News Today. We'll bring you more stories. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying here on Joy News Today. We can now speak to my colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, who is with the Agric Minister Dr. Akoto Owusu-Afriyie, and he's touring some parts of the eastern region where farms have been invaded by armyworms. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Benny.
Yes, sure. Where has the minister visited specifically?
So he's been in the Suhum Krabwa Kota district where he's been interacting with some farmers. Also, he's been handing over chemicals to them to help deal with the destruction that's been caused by the invasion of the armyworm. Some farmers complained that on their own they went in to go get chemicals from the various shops to come help deal with it about 2-3 weeks ago. For a lot of them, they've not seen much difference as the devastation continued, but the minister has been assuring them that with the fresh chemicals, which are ones that government has approved that been brought to them today, once the spraying gun gets onto the field and helps spray the field, and the assurance that the worms will be destroyed. But broadly, he's been giving the indication that he doesn't see any situation of this affecting government efforts when it comes to the planting for food and jobs policy. Specifically, he's saying that there's been destruction on only a little over 1,000 acres when it, a little over 1,000 hectares when it comes to the farm sizes that are affected by the armyworm invasion. but there are hundreds of thousands of farmlands across the country, and so the impact won't be big. But he's been assuring that all the efforts are ongoing. He said chemicals have been dispatched to various parts of the country to help deal with the problem, and that by the end of the week, every possible affected area will get their fair share of the chemicals to help deal with the invasion by the pest.
All right, so Joseph, what exactly does the minister mean when he says that the destruction caused by these armyworms is under control?
So his point is that there's not been any spread of the pest beyond the initial ones that we saw. And then he pointed to the fact that since it was announced that over the weekend chemicals were being dispatched to various parts of the country, the places where the chemicals got to and they did the spraying earlier in the week, the evidence from what he explains has been that the pests have been destroyed there, and so they've not been able to spread any further. So he indicates that from the checks that he's done, at least the areas that have seen the spraying, the pests have been destroyed. And so once the chemicals get to all other parts of the country where there's been this invasion, then no further spread will be seen. He gives some additional details that across the country, 9 different regions, apart from the Volta region, have seen the invasion by the pest, and these are the areas where the chemicals are being sent to help deal with the situation.
All right, Joseph, finally, tell us how members of these communities and farmers he's been visiting have been responding.
Well, they are taking him by his word and the assurance that the minister is giving that the pesticides that government is bringing in would help deal with the situation. They are really concerned that as a result of the destruction by pests, it's possible that the yields that they will get at the end of the farming season will be low, but they look forward to the situation being curtailed so that then they would get the higher yields. They've also been speaking about the whole planting for food and jobs policy and the indication that government has given that there will be fertilizer that will be coming and that there will be additional input. They really very much look forward to those.
Okay, Joseph, where else is he expected to visit?
Well, he's mainly touring areas here in the eastern region. That's the focus. The understanding we get is that some of his other deputies are touring other parts of the country and dispatching the necessary chemicals to them and interacting with farmers and taking the necessary feedback from them, both on the armyworm invasion and also the planting for food and jobs policy generally. But for today, the minister is focusing on the eastern region and specifically the Tuhum-Kraboa district.
Right, thank you very much for the updates. Away from the Agric sector, and Accra High Court has adjourned a bail application by Aisha Huang, a Chinese woman believed to be deeply engaged in illegal mining, to May 23. Aisha Huang was remanded in prison custody alongside 4 other Chinese nationals after they were arrested by the Ghana Immigration Service and brought to court a week ago. Chief State Attorney Mercy Arthur requested for adjournment, saying she only received the docket yesterday and needs time to respond appropriately. She also indicated they intend to charge the 5 under the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 Act 703. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins me with more. Hello, Joseph. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Benny.
So, what was the reaction from Aisha Huang and her lawyers?
In fact, they had hoped that today they will get the bail application in. Because at the previous hearing of the court, they had tried to do that, but that was not possible. They were supposed to come back on May 23rd. In fact, at that same previous hearing, their specific charges were not read in open court, but we understand there's a document before the court that seems to suggest the GIS went under the Immigration Act. But this time around, when they filed the application for bail, in the response of the Attorney General's Department, the judge pointed out that he had noted it appears it has something to do with the Minerals Act. So he therefore asked for information why further and better particulars on the specific charges were not put in the set of opposition to that application filed by lawyers for Aisha Huang. There was then that the Attorney General's rep, Mercy Arthur, did indicate that she only received the docket yesterday from the GIS and that they were still undertaking further investigation, but she was clear in her mind that they were indeed coming to the court under the Minerals Act and not under the Immigration Act to charge them for engaging that illegal mining activity as we know it today. But for today in court, the 5 persons, Aisha Huang and the 4 others, were not present in court. Their lawyers made an appearance on their behalf, and for which they made that application that has to be moved at the next agenda with a response coming from the state attorney.
Thank you very much, Joseph Akablake, coming to us from the court here in Accra. Now, last year, Joy News' Upper East correspondent Albert Sori told the story of the Aganda Primary School at Kandinga in the Upper East region. At the time, the mud structure of the school had its roof blown off, so the children were virtually studying under the hot sun. Following the report about the plight of the children, the mud classroom structure was roofed, and later a new classroom block was built. However, work on this new block, which is about 70% complete, has stalled for reasons unknown, leaving the children's lives in danger as the old mud structure is near collapse. Upper East Regional Correspondent Albert Sori visited the Aganda Primary School again and came through with his report.
A roofless 4-room mud structure with cracked walls and children sitting on the bare ground for lessons. This was the situation at the Aganda Primary School during my last visit. Today, I returned to this school located in the Kasna-Nankana West District to find out if anything has changed since Joy News first aired the story in February last year. I find that the structure has now been roofed, although in a rather patchy fashion. Everything else here at the Aganda Primary School remains same as it was last year, if not worse. School has just reopened and many of the children have not reported to school yet. But the few children in classes 1 and 2 are sitting on pieces of blocks for lessons, just like I saw during my last visit. The cracks on the walls of this mud structure are getting deeper, worse than last year. But even more disturbing is something I see now which was missing last year. Fresh animal dung littered in the classrooms where these little children gather to acquire knowledge. Gilbert Atanga is headmaster of the Aganda Primary School.
And let me use this opportunity to thank the staff of Joy News for having come here the last time to give a vivid reportage about the situation in this school. I think it has taken this as far as the development of the school is concerned. The roofing, you can still see that our doors are ajar. When it is raining or when there's threat of windstorm, what I simply do is to close down the school. Because you cannot tell, this is still a death trap. It's only half a loaf. The problem still exists as far as furniture is concerned, as far as the classrooms are concerned. You see that the nature of the classroom is not good. The PTA and the SMC has been of help, but this is the best they can do. The thing is only government's intervention that can help address the situation.
Away from this mud structure is a new concrete classroom block. The building is finished and roofed, and the outstanding work borders more on fittings. But the headmaster tells Joy News work on the building, which started in November last year, stopped in January this year.
And I operate my office from a house, which makes administration very difficult for me. Even the teachers have no sitting place. The children themselves have no sitting place. That is not even much a problem. If the structure was completed, where we can comfortably house our children here, for the purpose of safety, we would have been grateful than still lying on the dilapidated structure up there.
As this new building awaits completion, these little children will have to continue their school lessons in this dilapidated mud structure. The rainy season has just started, and already rainstorms have destroyed some schools in this district where Aganda Primary School is located. But with more rains ahead this season, this mud structure may not survive the harsh weather, and that would leave these pupils without a classroom. Hopefully, a plea from little Doris, one of the pupils here, will cause authorities to act.
We don't have classroom blocks. We don't have teachers. We don't have chairs and tables to sit. We don't have textbook. So we want the government to help us That is to solve this program.
For Joy News, Albert Sorry, reporting from Kandiga.
Really passionate appeal from young Doris from Aganda Primary School. We do hope that the authorities and those responsible will act immediately. Let's still stay within the education sector. And let me tell you a story of how a young woman is hoping to further her education. 20-year-old Memuna Bakuri, who hails from Dusi in the Wa East District of the Upper West Region, was expected to join her colleagues right the just ended West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination WASI, but she had her ambition flamed out because she couldn't afford 50 Ghana cedis as registration fee for the exams. She was repeated in year 2 and has to wait till 2018 for re-registration for the examination. During holidays, Memuna, who is a student at Brefo Senior High School, either works at a fufu chop bar during short holiday periods or as a head porter during long vacation periods to make ends meet. Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam visited her at the Wa Fufu Chop Bar and reports.
20-year-old Memuna Bakuri works here as a chop bar attendant. On arrival every morning, she first will ensure that all napkins that will be used to ward off any sweat or dirt that may be found around the food are cleaned. He will then wash and rinse all the cooking utensils and bowls before joining 4 of her colleagues to pound the fufu. It always takes them 15 to 20 minutes before the yam is turned into fufu for sale. Memuna tells me why she's not holidaying, but rather has chosen to work at a chop bar for 7 Ghana cedis a day.
I don't have money, that's why I want to come here and work and get money and buy books and my sandals and go to school. Because my father is passed away, I don't have money. I also want to go to school. That's why I normally come here and work and go to school.
Memuna is a student of Brefo Senior High School in the Lora district of the Upper West region. She was supposed to join her colleagues to write the just ended West Africa Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination, WASI, but had her ambition flame out because she couldn't afford 50 Ghana cedis as registration fees. She was repeated in the year 2 class for another year. For 50 Ghana cedis, you were not able to write the WASI examination, and so you have to defer your course, you have to be repeated.
Yes. That's why I didn't write.
When you have this issue of not paying the 50 Ghana cedis, who did you contact?
I contacted one of my master, our English master. Master also said that she don't have money. If you have the money, she will give to me. Later on, if I finish the school, I will work and send the money back to master. But master also tell me that she don't have the money.
Rafiq Salam brought us that report from Dusi. Now, the medical director of Ridge Regional Hospital, Dr. Thomas Anaba, who was relieved of his post yesterday, is insisting he will not go. Dr. Anaba's appointment was supposed to last till 2020, and he had the option to reapply, but that has been revoked. He was appointed on February 1, 2016, during the tenure of former President John Mahama. It is unclear why the Public Service Commission and the Ghana Health Service Council terminated his appointment. So why does he want to continue staying on? Let's go live to the man himself in his office now. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us on Joy News today. So what exactly is your reason for staying on even after your appointment has been terminated?
Is there actually a reason for my termination of my appointment? This person has no jurisdiction to terminate my appointment, and that is a fact. And even the letter of the termination is flawed of administrative procedures. So you don't take those people serious.
What academic procedures?
Let me come. A minister writing a letter with a reference number. That is flawed, administrative flawed. It's a blunder. You write a letter to sack somebody, you don't even thank him for what he has done. That's not good. You write a letter telling me to go back to my former place, and you don't even copy them. You have not copied the chief director, You've not copied the Ghana Human Resource Directorate. Is that how they
you talk about
somebody? So I think this is not a good letter, and we have asked him to rescind his decision.
All right, Dr. Anaba, where is this former place you talk about? This place you're being asked to return to?
That what? Come again?
I'm asking, you're saying that you've been asked to return to your former place of work. Where exactly is that place, sir?
Oh, I was a senior lecturer and head of department at UDA.
Okay. Dr. Anaba, were you given any reasons for the termination of your appointment?
Okay, I have not been given any reason. The only reason the minister wrote in his letter, that I'm aware that is in black and white, says that following the planned restructuring of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, which you are by this letter release your original place, which I think is not correct. You can't release me to my original place because I went for a competitive interview. People challenged it, petitioned the president, and they took the case to Public Service Commission. That is the highest decision-making body in appointment in civil service, and they approved of it, and they gave me my appointment. So you can't just terminate my appointment. In the first place, who advised the minister to terminate the appointment? Based on what? If you look at the terms of my appointment letter and conditions that would warrant my dismissal, no, I don't think. Because there's no counsel, and we have a director general who he himself has not undergone any interview. He himself has not even gone for interview, and he's a director general. I went for an interview.
All right.
And I was approved by a Public Service Commission.
All right, Dr. Anaba, so have you formally communicated to the minister?
Let me finish. The other reason he gave, that is on radio, and it is recorded and on the Facebook, is that he has transferred me. This letter is not a letter for you to think that it's a transfer letter, meaning that he didn't consult his technocrats to write a proper transfer letter. So in that aspect too, he failed. Today, his third reason on radio, OKFM, is that I am being sacked because the company putting up the building have recommended that I'm not competent enough to manage the building. Can a minister listen to a company putting up a structure for Ghana to tell him who they should appoint to be a director, to flout the work that the Public Service Commission has done and the Ghana Service Council has done, to sack a director and bring a new person? I think if our minister is going to be listening to foreign companies to be appointing directors for our hospitals, we should be prepared because it's going to be a disaster in this country.
All right. So, Dr. Anaba, what is your plan now, and how far are you willing to go to press home your demands?
Oh, I'm asking for the assistance of everybody to let this minister acknowledge that he has made a mistake, withdraw the letter, and then we'll continue work. We have sent him a letter to do that. My lawyers have sent him a letter to do that honorable thing. If he doesn't do it, then we will now look for, we have a very good judicial system in this country. And as the president said, we should be citizens. And I'm going to be a very good citizen.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, we have to end it here. Dr. Anaba is with the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. He's the medical director there, and he's been asked to leave his post, but he says he will not go.